get into it.
New seasoning too, they have it for sale.
Right. The seasoning that I use, and this one's been well used, is Camp Chef. All right. It's made by Camp Chef. They will not tell you what's in it. When we were doing it, we had to season one from the ground up. We would tell people to do it with lard. Actually, what was the best that we could use, because they had a refined lard called manteca that was the best that we could find. And manteca is a Spanish lard that they still cook with a lot, and you could find it in the ethnic section of the grocery store. All right, now, do any of you have questions about how you regulate the heat on a Dutch oven? The best way, because I use both. I use gas and I use charcoal, but I will tell you that with Kingsford briquettes, there's two general rules that you want to follow when you're Dutch oven cooking. One is you take the size of the Dutch oven, and you'll notice there's a size right there, 14, 12, 10, okay? And what you want to do is you subtract 3 briquettes from the bottom. So if you've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, I have 11 briquettes right there. That's 3 less than the 14 that I have right here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to put this on here with 11 briquettes underneath it. Doesn't seem like a lot, but you don't need a lot, okay? And then what you do, and this is a real good rule of thumb that you can follow. Of course, if you're not used to doing a whole lot of Dutch oven, is you add 3 to the top. So if you've got a 14, you're going to put on 17 briquettes on the top. And that is a good rule of thumb to avoid burning anything. And that is with a fully white hot Kingsford briquette. I try. Now, you can see how much steam we're getting just off those 11 little briquettes. And I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. So what I have in here are Old Settler baked beans. Now, I'm going to tell you how to make these, so if you're taking notes, this will be the most popular thing that you ever make when you're out, including Dutch oven chicken and all the things that you're famous for. This will be the one thing that everybody will ask for time and time again, okay? And it's real simple. I want you to take a pound of bacon, and if you're worried about cooking low fat on this one, it's the wrong class to be in. All right? If you're going to go out and do this, it's maybe the one time out of the summer that you don't worry about low fat, okay? Throw in a pound of bacon and fry it up and get it nice and crispy. And I'm talking about like this, not burnt, just crispy, okay? And you cook that in your Dutch oven first, and then drain off most of the fat. Leave a little bit in there, just a little bacon grease, okay? And you dice up 2 whole onions, whatever size you like. I like them a little bit bigger, but dice them up and caramelize those in the remaining bacon grease. And then you put in 2 pounds of ground beef. Okay, and I'll explain what we have here, but I'm just talking about the baked bean recipe for now. But once we have this, I have a cherry cobbler that we have in here, and I'll tell you the recipe for that in just a little bit, but we'll continue with the beans. I just need to get these cooking, or we're not going to have anything when we're ready.
What about aren't you breaking the rule and having more underneath?
You'll find that when you're stacked like that, yes, that tends to be the case, but it's, again, a rule of thumb. It doesn't have to be that way. You just learn when have I got too much and when do I not have too much. You can also pull a little bit of this to the outsides so that the heat's not going entirely up. Now what I have in here is a cherry cobbler, but I'm going to finish the recipe while I'm thinking about it here for the beans. Okay, so you've caramelized your onions, added 2 pounds of ground beef, and just cook that till it's brown. And then you're going to add 2 cans each of these 3 kinds of beans. You're going to do kidney beans, pork and beans, or white beans. You don't have to use pork and beans. I actually prefer just the white beans because I like the flavors to come from everything else that we put in it. But we use pork and beans, and then butter beans. Butter beans are not lima beans. They're a different texture. I don't care for lima beans, but butter beans add a great texture to them and a lot of color. So, and I love them. So you'll put 2 cans of each of those in there, and then you'll add 2 tablespoons of prepared mustard, just your good old garden variety yellow mustard. 2 tablespoons. 1 cup of ketchup, and a half a cup of molasses. A lot of your flavor comes from the molasses, okay? And I love this stuff. And then 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar. Now these are a sweet bean. They're very sweet, but we serve them over a deep dish cornbread that is not just cornbread, it's half cornbread and half yellow cake mixed together. It comes out about that thick and really sweet, and then we serve the beans over the top of that sweet cornbread. It is phenomenal. You'll all get to try it when we're done here. All right, and that is basically the whole recipe minus the bacon. Once you've added all of those things and stirred it all up, you let it simmer for about an hour. Just before you serve it, you break up or crumble the bacon, and you add that just before you're ready to serve it and over the top. And it just makes a great presentation and makes it taste just that much better. So there's your recipe for the baked beans. Now, what we have here is our cobbler. Now, the cobbler that I do is real simple. It's real easy when you're out camping. It's called a 3-2-1 cobbler. And by that it means 3 cans of your favorite pie filling. I'm making a cherry. You can do it with apple. You can do it with lemon. In fact, the lemon with a lemon cake on it is one of the best cobblers I've ever had. So you can use that. We can use blueberry. My dad's favorite is blueberry. You can also, and of course the peach cobbler, everybody is used to the peach cobblers. I like to get a little bit more elaborate.
I use that and use brownie mix.
Yeah, make the Black Forest. Right. Yeah. Okay. Now, what size do most of you have?
12.
Okay. The 12 is the one that a lot of people have. The size really doesn't matter so much. It's just your depth on whatever you're doing. Now, when it comes to the pot of baked beans, I always like to use a 14 because I am making a bigger pot even than what we're calling for in the recipe that I'm giving you, okay? The one we're doing has 4 cans each of beans, so I've got 12 cans of beans in that one pot, and so it's going to be a lot of beans, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to try it. A 14 or a 12, you're going to find, you know, you're just talking about the depth. Now, if you're doing a deep dish cornbread and you were doing it in a 12, because it rises so much, it's actually too close to the lid and it tends to burn a little bit. So the deeper the Dutch, the better that is because you're not quite so close to the heat. This one happens to be the cobbler, and this one is our, that's my empty one here. This one happens to be the sweet cornbread. Okay, doesn't look like much now, but that's actually a Krusteaz cornbread mixed with a yellow cake. And I'll tell you not to make the mistake of getting a lemon cake when you meant to get a yellow cake, because it will completely change the flavor of whatever it is that you're trying to do. And we found that out just by telling people we needed a yellow cake. and they came back with a lemon cake. The one time that we did